This week on The Real Review, we're featuring the Orange region of New South Wales. Now, Orange, of course, is a great cool climate wine region, about 3 hours drive west of Sydney. It's a range of altitudes there that create the cool climate, between about 600 and about 1100 metres on the slopes of the extinct volcano Mount Canobolas. And the lower altitudes tend to produce good red wines, especially the fuller bodied red varieties, whereas the higher altitudes produce very delicate grapes for fine dry white wines and sparkling wines. I'm Hugh and Hook, and you're watching The Real Review. The wine we're tasting now is Highland Heritage Estate Patrono Series Pinot Noir 2019 from the Orange wine region of New South Wales. Highland Heritage, of course, was the first, I guess, in the Orange region in the modern era to produce wine. The D'Aquino family has been involved in Orange since 1946, when the Patrono, which was Carmelo D'Aquino, arrived and set up his liquor retailing business. This series of wines is the premium range of Highland Heritage, and it's dedicated to that Patrono. The wine has a very complex nose. It started to develop some tertiary characters. So there's a bit of that Campari character that often accompanies with Pinot Noir, possibly suggesting some whole bunch fermentation. There's a tinge of vanilla and chocolate in there as well from the barrels. And of course, the red cherry characters, the strawberry characters, and the sort of undergrowth, foresty kinds of characters as well. Very complex and very interesting. Let's taste it. A really nice, light-bodied Pinot Noir. It's not heavy, it's light in body, but it has intensity, and it has quite a good structure too. There is some tannin there. Not all lighter-bodied Pinot Noirs lack tannin. This wine has real strength to it, and that tannin helps to contribute to the mouthfeel and the finish. It really goes on for a long time. And as for a food match, we've suggested whole salmon, poached or roasted in the oven and served with a red wine sauce. That's a Neil Perry recipe from Good Food. The wine I'm tasting today is Hoosegg Double Happy Cabernet Sauvignon. So Hoosegg is the brand of Philip Shaw, and it's based in Orange, New South Wales, high altitude Orange, which is in the central west of New South Wales. This vineyard is Philip's own vineyard, the Coomaloo vineyard. Philip Shaw himself, of course, is one of Australia's most distinguished winemakers. He's been around for a long time, but what Philip did was start his own brand called Hoosegg. Philip's aim now, which is probably his last venture in his career, is to make wine with absolutely no restrictions and to do the best he possibly can. So there's a suite of wines under the Hoosegg label. They've all got interesting names. This is Double Happy Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's not straight Cabernet. There's a little bit of other varieties in it, but it's largely Cabernet. It's $140 a bottle. And the bouquet is really quite something else. That is an extraordinary nose. It is so multifaceted. It is beautiful. There are the usual, you can use all the usual descriptors, I suppose, of Cabernet, which are black currants, blackberries, cedar, violets, and also various kinds of dried herbs and dried fruit. I think if you can imagine dried cranberries, dried herbs such as oregano, thyme. Beautiful, beautiful nose. Let's have a taste. Full-bodied, as you'd expect. Full-bodied, rich, multi flavours. But the great thing about this wine, it has such beautiful balance. It is not a blockbuster. It's just on the elegant side of full-bodied, I would say. But the tannins are soft and not astringent. Cabernet tannins can be quite formidable. These tannins are rounded and the sharp edges have been taken off them, that's for sure. That is a lovely, lovely wine. And what do we recommend that you eat with a wine like this? I'm thinking slow cooked, slow roasted venison with a rich dark sauce, and Brigitte Hafner's recipe sounds pretty good to me. The wine we're tasting today is Angullong Fossil Hill Sangiovese 2021 from the Orange wine region of New South Wales. This wine is, I guess, aimed at the full-bodied, medium to full-bodied red wine area, Sangiovese, a typical grape of Tuscany, of Chianti especially. So this comes from the lower altitudes. The Angullong farm, which is owned by the Crossing family, is at the lower altitudes of the Orange region, which is especially good for red wines. It's also good for whites, but it's especially good for reds of this style. And the nose is starting to develop really good Sangiovese character. There's the dark cherries, there's the dried plum characters, and there's this little patina of minerality, which a lot of people would refer to as rusty bucket or rusty nails, a sort of metallic ironstony sort of character, which adds an extra dimension to the bouquet of these wines on top of the fruit characters. And the wine is really starting to fill out and show richness and body, texture. The acidity is quite high, which is not really a problem. It would help it go with food, and you wouldn't notice that acidity with food. But it also gives the wine life and vivacity, freshness on the palate. The tannins are there. Sangiovese is noted for tannins, but they're not very heavy tannins. They're not clunky. They're not imposing tannins. They're just nice tannins that give the wine a good backbone, a good spine from which the flavours hang off. Really good length, excellent wine. The dish we've chosen to put with this Angullong Sangiovese is oxtail ragu with pappardelle. I think that would be superb with this wine. It had a dish with an Italian flair to it to go with a wine with an Italian flourish to it. Cheers. If you've enjoyed this, follow us and subscribe to The Real Review.